Have you ever wondered what it looks like to save a trail? Well, this is it. We put in a fence. A lot of people didn't like it, but we saved a trail. All right, lunchtime. Man, look at that view over there. You ready? This episode is brought to you in part by Earl's Off-Road and Custom. Hey, thank you for joining me on another adventure. I hope everyone has been well. This one's going to be a good adventure. We're going out to do some work out at Margaret Lake as part of the Trails for Tomorrow team. So I'm pretty excited about this. We're advancing our trail system and having fun doing it. Plus, it gets me out in the mountains. I'm all in for that. So thanks for joining along, and yeah, it's going to be a great weekend. I was leaving on a Friday night after work, gonna head out, spend the night, and then we were gonna get up nice and early and start work in the morning. Man, was it ever a beautiful drive out. This was gonna be a long weekend of hard work putting in a fence. Why did we have to put in this fence? A lot of people asked us. Well, people were driving down to the lake and actually through the lake. There was a pretty decent campsite on the far side, but it did require you to drive through the lake. So the lake was sustaining a lot of damage. So basically, if we did not put this fence in, it was going to get cut off. Now there was a truck trail that was going to get cut off, and there was also a quad trail that led up to the lake that was going to get cut off. So rather than get those trails cut off, it made more sense to put up the fence. So now we still have access to the lake, and those trails have been preserved and we can still use them. That's why we were doing this weekend. So the next question is, why would the government just cut it off? The government entities that take care of our trails do have limited resources. So if it becomes a matter of, putting up a fence that maybe they can't afford or cutting off the trail, they cut off the trail. When they do that, we just lose access, and that's not good for anybody, whether you're a hiker, biker, quadder, or someone who drives a vehicle like me. So the answer is to do projects like this, so we can preserve our trails, we can preserve our land, and we can continue to use it for generations. I finally make it out to the campsite, set up camp, and we all enjoyed each other's company. Man, it was a beautiful night. Okay, we made it out, put up camp. Gonna be meeting tomorrow morning so we can start work on the Margaret Lake project, so that'll be good. Supposed to be a beautiful aurora tonight, but haven't seen it yet. So we're gonna crash, head to bed for the night, and get to work in the morning. What a beautiful morning. Man, I live for mornings like these. All right, 9:30. We're at the meetup spot. my face tracking is all over the place. At the meetup spot, so people are just starting to pull up now. We're in the background there. We're getting everything ready to go so we can head out to our meeting point and get some work done today. And we have more people who are showing up right now. Here's Jen. Awesome. And a pretty cool little Tacoma. It's really good seeing everyone come together like this. Well, I better stop talking and get to work.
Okay, all right. So why don't we get started? So my name's Lloyd. I am the project manager for T4T. In theory, I'm the guy who's ultimately responsible for things that go wrong today. We're not going to have any of that. We're all going to take our time, be aware. Just nobody gets hurt on this job. That's the whole goal. So we're here to volunteer. We're here to do a job, but nobody's going to get hurt. Bill is president of Trails for Tomorrow. I'm going to let you start.
Yep.
And then I will go through the safety and what we're doing today.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming out. Should be a good weekend. Nice weather. So obviously the goal today is to start on this fence project. Tom has been out here all week with his excavator working on the north part of the trail from 139.
Okay, everybody is all loaded and we're heading up to the construction site. So it's been a lot of debate a little bit whether or not this is cutting off trail access or granting trail access. The biggest thing is this is stopping the little turnoff road to Margaret Lake from being cut off. It means you can't drive all the way down to the lake, but you couldn't anyway. You weren't supposed to, even though people were. So that's how people are viewing this as being cut off. Now that said, this fence is going to stop people from going down, but you can still access Margaret Lake, which is at the end a win. So they are planning on doing more camping sites and that type of stuff at Margaret Lake. So yeah, I think it in the end, it's gonna be better for the whole community, whether or not you hike, you bike, you 4x4, use this trail on a regular basis, or camp, because they're planning on adding different camp spots to the area. So it's good. It's a really good thing. Anyways, it's also pretty fun traveling up this little road here. Check it out. So beautiful out here. Look at these mountains.
You're probably going to want to go for a load just to keep the load off.
The trail to Margaret Lake is a fairly easy trail. Lots of fun to drive. I love how it goes up and down and has lots of little whoops on it. There's a couple bridges out here, a little narrow but still wide enough for a vehicle. And up on the top of this this little hill, there's a beautiful lookout where you can pull out and grab some beautiful vehicle pics in front of the mountains. This trail even has a couple of fun little hills to climb. In the wintertime, it gets a little bit slick going up and down this hill, but in the summertime like this, not an issue whatsoever. At the top of the hill, met up with a few people who were kind of interested in what we were doing out at Margaret Lake. They had heard about the project, and I wanted to ask a couple questions.
Hey, nice to meet you here. Looks like you are going to do some project here, eh?
You betcha. Yeah. We eventually met up with the first little point where we were going to have lunch later on in the day, but I had to grab some water from here. So Trevor loaded up some water to the top of the Jeep, and I brought it the rest of the way in to where the fence was being built. Okay, loaded the roof rack with water. Gonna go head in now. We're on the way. Well, so far the load is still staying there, so that's good. About time I used that roof rack properly. Don't want to tip that water jug up there too much. There's a couple of them where the top's open. Sometimes this mud puddle gets pretty deep. It's a lot of fun. This area in here definitely can get a little bit muddy from time to time. But here we go. We're here. All right, bringing some water in because it sure sucks packing at 500 meters. Well, after dropping off the water, it was time to get my Jeep out of the area. We were trying to keep that area fairly clear from people parking, just because we were going to be mixing concrete for the post holes, and we had some equipment for drilling the holes as well, so wanted to keep it fairly clear. Check out this beautiful Land Cruiser pickup. This thing is mint. It's absolutely beautiful, and he was using it to bring in some of the gates and whatnot that we were going to be installing today. So we helped him unload, and well, I had to go for a ride in it, so we went back out to the parking area. What a treat. First, we marked out where the fence line was going to go. This device right here, well, it kind of makes sure everything's all in a line and even at the right height. So when you put the fence posts in, they're all sitting where they should. Then we brought in the big equipment to dig the holes. Sometimes we'd have to work around the odd rock or two, but this machine was awesome at putting these holes in. And of course we had to dig the holes out after they were dug as well, because sometimes the dirt would fall back in. And of course we had to make sure everything was nice and level. That little red beeping thing I showed you a little earlier, well, that made sure everything was straight. But we had to definitely check our measurements before we put the concrete into the hole. All right, lunchtime. Man, look at that view over there.
My wife and I kayak down here a lot.
Hey, Trevor.
I'm happy that we're doing this so we can still have access to the lake.
There's like 6, 7
So
guys coming your way.
that's a good thing.
How many?
We're not losing access.
I don't know.
I'm
You
happy
just
about
asked
that.
me right now. That's every.
A little warm.
Okay, we are now at the Five Guys booth out here at Margaret Lake. What you cooking?
Burgers?
Who?
Brats.
Ooh, love brats. We worked hard for the rest of the afternoon. It was time to pack up and get ready to go. Well, another hard day of work done. Accomplished a lot today, so that was really good. So, heading back to camp, gonna cook some dinner now. And yeah, rest up for tomorrow because we still have lots of work to do tomorrow. Check this out. Gonna head on out a nice, beautiful, steep hill. Yeah, it's always fun to take these hills in the wintertime. Of course, the camera really does not show how steep this really is, but it is steep. Wintertime especially, when you get a little bit of ice buildup on the hill, and then you have some fun. As soon as I get to the top here, I kind of want to show you why we're doing this. There we go. I'm going to stop at this trail marker just up here. So this is why we are building the fence so you can't drive right to Margaret Lake, is because they wanted to cut off the trail at mile marker 139. So if you'll notice, that is the whole trail going into the lake. So, and that also included the quad trail that leads up to the lake as well. So we've had a lot of cooperation and collaboration between the quad clubs, the environmentalists. There's been a lot of people collaborating on this so that we can keep this, particularly this trail, open for vehicle access. So that's why we're doing what we're doing today. We're doing it so that we still maintain our access. I love this hill. It's pretty fun. It's fairly steep. It's not what I call a challenge by any means, but it is pretty steep, and it's fun to drive. I like it. It's Sam. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Doing amazing. Hard day of work, and
Yeah.
I'm ready for bed.
I bet.
That was a lot of. We're going back tomorrow. That's that beautiful camp spot here. I love it.
Yeah. It's a pretty nice spot. I'm glad it was free when we got here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Not as many people down here as I was expecting.
No. Kind of thought for being kind of one of the probably last nice no snow weekends.
Yeah.
Thought there'd be more people out here, but
Yeah, me too. Well, we finally make it back to camp. Man, I was beat. I couldn't wait to cook dinner. Sleep came pretty easy. The mountain air just knocked me right out. The sunrise put a beautiful pink hue on everything. We cooked breakfast and got back to work. We ended up putting in another solid day of work. But you know what? The result was worth it. Well, a super day of hard work. And we have a fence. Look at this. We just have to string the cabling between the posts and away we go. So it's definitely coming together. Got the man gate in over here, and you walk through here through the man gate. And then got the fence going all the way down the hill over here.
We didn't know it came
It's a lot of work.
So it came up.
Yeah, all the way down this hill right here. All the posts are concreted in. And away to go. There was a lot of people that put in some great effort and a lot of great collaborations between all the different groups that were out there. It was pretty inspiring.